we've had a lot of conversations since I got into real estate, and some have been really fun. I have pages and pages of notes. I remember one time I was just flabbergasted because you made a comment that you didn't believe real estate investing was for everyone. And I think the kind of analogy you used was that you shouldn't be doing real estate investing until everything else is kind of in line.
Yeah.
I think you used kind of the icing or the cherry on top kind of approach. Can you explain that a little bit, exactly what you mean?
Yeah, so I think there are real estate's great. You and I have talked about it before. I have some rental properties. So all too often, I think people are, especially in today's day and age, very black and white. I think there's some nuance there. So I have real estate, but like you said, I don't think it's necessarily for everyone. I think it's a more advanced investment strategy.
Okay.
So the approach that I use, I have a passive investment philosophy. I believe that if you look at all the academic research out there, professional investors historically don't do a very good job of beating the market consistently. So there's the old adage, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right.
And that's the investment approach I use. Some people call it indexing or just passive investing, but that's the approach I use. Just mimic an asset class at a low cost.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the approach I use because it has a pretty long track record.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about stock investing. We have data going back to the 1920s.
Right.
And, you could get a fairly clear picture of course, nobody has a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But using historical data, you could get a rough approximation of, okay, based on the past, these are the kind of outcomes we could experience.
Yeah.
And we don't quite have that with real estate because it's so localized and it's private, unlike publicly traded stocks. So we don't have that data of, how much are they renting this house for and how long, what have been the rent changes, et cetera. So I think for your average Joe, a broadly diversified portfolio of stocks and or bonds, that should be your base.
Gotcha.
And you need to be able to have a situation where if you're still working, obviously you're not going to have enough to retire, which is why you're still working.
Right.
But I think you should be able to have enough saved up that you have a reasonable glide path to get to the portfolio you need at retirement.
Right, right.
And once you're at that point, then if you want to do some more advanced strategies, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll be one of the first to admit, one downside of the approach I use, it's boring as all get out. There is nothing exciting or glamorous about passive investing or indexing. But I tell people if you want excitement, your investment portfolio is not the place to do it.
Gotcha.
So for me, the broadly diversified portfolio of stocks and or bonds, depending on the need for risk and return, I think that's the starting point.
Yeah.
And then once you've met that, and again, if you're still working, you don't have to have everything saved, but you have to have a reasonable glide path to get to the portfolio you need.
Right.
Once you have that, if you want to do some other more advanced things, I say have at it.
Gotcha.
I have clients that wanted to start a franchise. They said, I think that'd be cool to own my own franchise. Well, if you've got the stock and bond portfolio with a reasonable glide path to get you to retirement, go for it.
Okay.
Same with real estate. That's another one where, I think one advantage of real estate for a lot of people is they have, it's something, right? Whereas if you have a broadly diversified portfolio of, several index funds, it's a little more abstract for a lot of people, but when they look up and they see the property right there, it's a little more concrete, which is why I think some people are drawn to it. But real estate has some pretty significant risks that I think a lot of people don't think about.
Pause real quick.